and another man were involved and that they actually shot the gunman. And, you know, everybody who's involved here, the security, they just took control. They took control of the situation. The professionalism has been incredible. They've been giving us updates. You can probably hear noise behind me. When we were evacuated to this other room, we were, you know, in silence, under tables, you know, still just trying to be safe, and for hours just, you know, under these tables with a couple of security folks outside the door. They came and updated us periodically, and especially most recently a couple hours ago, to say we're safe in this space. It's okay. We can talk. We can get up off the floor. The perimeter around this building and around this room has been secured. I mean, they've just done an incredible job.
All right, I got to leave it there. Megan Leslie and Mark Garner, we're glad both of you are well. And obviously, before I let you go, though, will you come back to work tomorrow? We've heard now the Senate is saying it's open. This is important. Will MPs come back to Parliament Hill despite what's happened there tomorrow to sit, to talk, maybe to show that whatever the situation, this will not stop the workings of democracy from going on?
Well, there's certainly been talk of that happening, and if that's the case, I will be there. However, we need to be realistic in working with security and with police about whether or not the building is secure and it's safe for us. If it's safe, I have the feeling we'll be back.
All right, and Mark Arno.
You know, I have to say, I was thinking this afternoon, a part of me really wanted to go back into that House of Commons just to show everybody that this is Canada, it's a democracy, and no terrorists are going to intimidate Canadians from doing their job. That is the feeling that was deep inside me, I have to admit today, and I certainly will be there tomorrow morning if the Parliament is open for business.
All right, Mark Garno and Megan Leslie, both of you, first of all, your safety, first and foremost, of you, your colleagues, and everyone on Parliament Hill. We're glad, very glad that everything's okay there, and we really appreciate your accounts of what's happened. Obviously, the country's watching this situation, and we'll see where this unfolds as the lockdown remains on Parliament Hill. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
All right, let me reintroduce Steve Day. He's the former commander of the Special Forces, essentially, our Special Operating Forces here in Canada. That's the JTF-2. He joins me just blocks away from where the shooting happened. And you're hearing those accounts, Steve Day, of, I mean, this is stuff that you train for, but a lot of people just don't train for this kind of stuff. Why is there still a lockdown right now on Parliament Hill?
Well, there may still be a lockdown, Evan, because you need to actually work through that building and clear every single room, broom closet, a hallway, whatever it might be, to confirm that the facility is cleared from any threats, whether that be an improvised explosive device, whether it be another hidden shooter that could be in there. You need to actually physically go through there and clear every room and then secure that terrain before you can actually hand it back over to the Canadian population, if you will, if you can hand it back over to the security forces.
And can you give us any indication? I mean, I go up to Parliament Hill a lot. We all have these little special passes, but there is security at every door. Again, I don't want to speculate too much, but we're wondering, how does someone get inside there? We know he was carrying a gun, and we have a video that we'll zoom in on in a minute. We may get a better picture of that. But can you give us any indication?
I don't have any inside information at this point in time, other than I think most folks would probably look at that facility, and he probably may have been studying it for a week or two or a month or whatever it might have been, and he would have been trying to find those weak spots, those access points where he could gain access. I'm not saying that's what he's done. I don't actually know, but it is not impossible to get into the Parliament Hill. It's not impossible to get into most of our federal facilities, quite frankly.
Okay, Steve Day, hang in there, former Special Forces Operations Commander. Steve, as you were speaking, we showed this video that Rosie and I were talking about earlier. This is video sent to CBC. Let me show it to you now. This is slowed down and zoomed in. This is the suspect right here. This is Michael Zihaf Bibo, okay? This is him getting into that. That is the brown Toyota Corolla that I'd seen right minutes later. And this is just seconds after he's shot to death. Corporal Cirillo, and Nathan Cirillo, who was getting CPR at this moment. And here is the suspect, Michael Zihaf Bibo. And you can see we're slowing it down. See how calmly He's getting in the car, and if you look closely, it's hard to see if he has the weapon there, but that is that car that ended up being parked literally on the other side of the road and then later abandoned. I can't tell in this dark photo whether they had plates on it or not. It did not have any plates on when I saw it later and took that photo. But look at how calmly he's walking there. He's not running from the scene. And you heard Greta Levy from the NDP say it was deliberate and calm. So there's an iciness, a chilling iciness and a deliberate element here to this as we start to learn more about this suspect, Michael Zihaf-Bibeau, who was eventually shot and killed on Parliament Hill. Now, we're going to get a photo of him in a minute, and we're going to be able to show you a bit more about this guy. Let me bring in Rosemary Barton, Rosie, because we know a bit about how old he is, and we're going to learn his background. Now, the key question here will be motive. Does he have links to any groups? Is this related to those ISIS groups? Is it a copycat? Is he linked to this element, which sheds a totally different light on the motivations? And then the questions surrounding how this would be. We can't confirm yet the motive, but we're learning more about him.
Yeah, and we do have a photo that we'll bring to people as soon as we have it. A number of police sources. I think we have the photo.
Yeah, let's show it right now. I think we can put that up. Okay, so this gives us, Rosie, a better picture. This is a photo confirmed by CBC of Michael Zihaf-Bibeau. He's wearing, this would be called, I think, a keffiyeh, which is the name of this. We had heard he had this long black hair from some witnesses. Then some said he had cut it shorter, but this is a photo of him, and again, this is the first time we're seeing this photo. Obviously, he's carrying a weapon there, and he's wearing this keffiyeh. Again, we got to be very, very careful about what you attribute motive here. Remember, and it was brought up earlier, the massacre that took place in Europe, and it was domestic terror in the end, but it was, of course, first attributed wrongly to other groups. But this is the first picture we've got of the suspect.
And this is confirmed by a number of police sources to CBC News. And I think you can actually see when he gets in the car, if you can show the video again, Jared, you can sort of see the scarf a little bit too if you watch closely. And one would believe as well that he has the weapon on him there, because from that point, like, let's just let people know, it would be very unusual to see a car parked there on that little strip of street behind the war memorial. So that already probably raised some eyebrows. And at that point, the reports may have been out there. I'm not sure why this person, that sent us the video would have been shooting video of it, but they did, and thankfully sent it in to us. At that point, Bibeau makes his way around to the other side of that street, to the other side of Wellington, near the East Block, and we are led to believe climbs over the fence or gets through the barricades and carjacks another car and then bursts into Center Block. Here's the little that we know about him at this stage. He is Canadian born. Around 1982 is his year of birthday just in the past number of days actually, and has a criminal record, although not maybe what you would expect. Dating back 10 years ago in Quebec, he had some drug-related charges. He lived in Montreal, according to those documents. We have also sourced some court documents from Vancouver, 2011, where he was charged with robbery and uttering threats. Right. What will be interesting in the coming hours and days is to see if the RCMP or if the Prime Minister says anything more about this word radicalization, which you remember 2 days ago on Monday in question period, and shortly thereafter, the government and the RCMP were happy to confirm that in the case of Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, it was a radicalized Canadian. That's right. They were very explicit in their language. It will be interesting to see whether we get that same sort of confirmation from authorities today or in the coming days. In the coming minutes, we're expecting some kind of update as well, a political update maybe from the Prime Minister as well. But this is, let me just, we've got Steve Day, the former commander of our Special Forces, Rosemary Barton's here. Now let me just build a little picture here for you, Jerry, and Jerry, who I always speak to, who is our director here. Just follow along here. Now that we've got this photo, we're going to build a little sequence here for you. At 9:52, the RCMP is inundated with 911 calls at the memorial. The War Memorial is just across the street, a little to the east of Parliament Hill. This is all in a very small location. And
we got to be very careful now showing the video of these, now that we know that Corporal Cirillo has died here, and I appreciate how sensitive this is. This was right downtown, and we were there to see this. From this point on, let's go to the video now that we've obtained. Seconds after shooting Corporal Cirillo, the suspect has parked a car just behind the memorial, as you're seeing there. This is an eyewitness of this. This is Michael Zehaf Bibeau getting into the car seconds after that. He seems to have some kind of long coat and scarf on. He's a tall, thin man. You can see there. He goes there. Then the car is then, this is a picture of him that has just been released by police. He's got the keffiyeh on. He's got a gun. We have no confirmation that he is connected yet to any group, but I can tell you right now, all of us and the police are checking. Does he have a connection to any group? We got to be very careful here, but is he connected to any ISIS account now in the wake of the radicalized event Rosie was just speaking about on Monday, where another member of the Canadian Armed Forces was killed by someone on the RCMP watch list with connections to radicalized jihadist groups who had his passport revoked? Is this the same with Michael Zehaf Bibeau? This is the only picture we've got. Then he takes the car, this car here is a photo I took at about just after 10, a couple of minutes later. Police told me this is the suspect's car. It jives with the video we've got here. He parks the car there and makes his way somehow up to center block. At center block, he makes his way into the front doors, and then a furious exchange of gunfire with RCMP and Parliament Hill staff, including the Sergeant-at-Arms, Kevin Vickers, takes place. And he obviously had an assault rifle here that's semi-automatic. Listen in. This furious exchange of gunfire. Everyone in Parliament Hill, tourist MPs and staffers, take cover. They're still in lockdown right now in that exchange of gunfire. Michael Zehaf Bibeau is shot dead. A member of the Parliament Hill security staff is wounded in the leg. Chaos ensues and a lockdown begins. Immediately, security protocol kicks in and Parliament Hill is locked down. We found out later that Corporal Nathan Cirillo died when he was shot by the suspect Michael Zehaf Bibeau at the War Memorial. A lockdown that began at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time and continues as we speak right now. Steve Day, the former Special Operations Commander, joins me now. He's blocks away from where all this started. And Steve Day, that's our reconstruction now. I can tell you what I've heard from some sources is that every security cam, now this guy's right near Langevin Block, the Prime Minister's office. He's right near Parliament Hill. There must be security cameras all over the place, so I imagine there is extensive video on security cameras and surveillance cameras of this person.
Oh, I would want to confirm there would be extensive video, but the question becomes, you can't be watching every screen every minute of every day, and in this case, that lone gunman, that lone wolf, always has the initial advantage. But over time, that advantage switches back over to the security forces who can overcome that element of surprise, that initial element of surprise.
Steve Day, right now, we're still trying to establish why we're still in lockdown, and there was an RCMP press conference and we got no answers. People were wondering, was there only one shooter? Was there somebody else? How long will this go on for? Canadians now watching many hours later are concerned that essentially it's still not over. Give us a sense of what kind of scenario we are in now. Are we still in a manhunt scenario, or are we simply in a prudent security scenario?
I would suggest it could be one or the other, Evan. Until we've confirmed exactly what's going on in the downtown core here, and we're 99% sure that we've got the situation under control, then it's only prudent security measures to keep things locked down, to keep people that are currently safe and keep them safe. So why would we want to have let a bunch of people move around, move out of the buildings that they're locked down into, to create a little bit more chaos on the street that we're trying to manage?
Give us a profile of people that do this, and I know this is what you do for a living, you did for a long time. is this a lone wolf? Is this someone who's self-radicalized, or you know, how do these people? What's the profile again of someone like Michael Zehaf Bibeau that would gun down someone in broad daylight at the War Memorial and then go to Parliament Hill? Is this someone? Is the